Here we are at the Bellona Arsenal, historic place near Richmond, Virginia, across the river from Richmond. There's the only fully standing, halfway intact building. I think down here we've got the powder magazine, which is not really very much intact anymore, but it is what it is. There it is over there in the woods, what's left of it. Powder magazine. We'll go back and look at that workshop. And then on the other side there's a foundation for another workshop right next to the road. But the best part is down here. We've got original Flask for casting large guns, probably about 32 pounders. We'll go down and take a closer look at the Flask and the gun casting. Here beside the road is a heavy gun making Flask. The only one I've ever seen. And here's the caption. You can read what it says. Now let's look at the Flask. It's made out of approximately 3/4 inch to 1 inch iron plate. Looks like to me. And has many small keys all over it for locking the parts together once you get it assembled inside. Get your sand in and your wooden pattern out, or however you do it. But this thing must weigh a few tons. There's a whole lot of, looks like 3/4 inch to 1 inch iron plate. Thing is about 12 feet long and about 30 inches deep, about 30 inches high and 30 inches wide, I should say. A lot of hooks on it for lifting with a crane inside the foundry. And we got some still flash pictures we took of the inside. This is the end, the top end, where the sinking head comes out. You can see inside a little bit there. It's got a whole bunch of reinforcing rings. And everywhere it's got eyes and rings to lift this heavy thing. Because especially with the casting in it, it has to weigh many, many tons. You need some stout chain and some good blocks to pick this thing up. And it would be oriented vertically with this end at the top where the sinking head comes out. Now here's a casting over here, an unfinished casting, and the conical part is the sinking head on this end. And you see the gun down here. It looks like at least a 32 pounder. It looks like a copy of the US 32 pounder or 4.2 inch, I'm sorry, rifle. The knob is broken off, this one. Been in the water a little while, I guess. A little bit of corrosion. This end must have been up because it got more corrosion than the other end, which is pretty smooth. Must have been in the mud. And I think this is probably the only gun Flask in the country, at least that I know of. I've never seen another one. And this one is complete, and with the exception of a few cracks, in very good condition. Not even very much corrosion. But really a super historical artifact. The foundry here is called the Bellona Foundry and is run by John Clarke early on, and sometime around, I guess, 1830, I'll have to look it up again. The place was bought by Junius L for about $2,500, the whole property, which is 1% of its original government cost if we're talking about the Bellona Arsenal and all the buildings. Here's the top of the Flask.